So, hello. So before we get started, we'd like to mention the format of this interview. So both Manan and I will be introducing ourselves. Then Manan will be introducing you. You can feel free to add anything if we miss. I'd also like to add that this is going to be recorded and given to our video production team, and they will be editing the video for quality. And if you have any pieces or clips you want to take out, you can let us know. Do you have any questions before we get rolling?
Sure. You will send it before you publish it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right. Hi, my name is Manan Shah, and I'm a rising high school senior from Edison, New Jersey. I'm the co-founder and co-president of Limitless Minds, which is an international nonprofit that provides free tutoring. Through my experiences in Limitless Minds and my other activities, I have developed an interest in entrepreneurship, and more specifically, I hope to become a social entrepreneur in the future.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trisha Patnaik, and I'm a senior at Bolingbrook High School from a Chicago suburb. I'm the founder of the National Young Changemakers of North-South Foundation. Recently, I led my team of 20 young changemakers nationally to raise about $75,000 in a 2-month business campaign in order to supply learning devices to underserved students nationally who didn't have access to these devices during these challenging times. Through these experiences, I've come to develop a passion in entrepreneurship and help initiate innovation and change in society.
And with us today, we have Mr. Dwibedy, the founder and CEO of Second Medic. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Dwibedy.
Awesome. Pleasure to be here, and very impressed with your background and the initiative that you have on hand.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So if you could start off by just telling us about what Second Medic does.
For sure. Second Medic is basically aims to provide medical second opinion for patients all across the world. And as you would have heard, that medical second opinion has its own importance because almost 14 million people get misdiagnosed every year right here in the US. And out of that, 250,000 people lose their lives. That's very scary to sound, but the most important piece is that a lot can be prevented by diagnosis, proper diagnosis. And every single time someone goes for a medical second opinion, 88% of the cases, a new diagnosis or a revised treatment comes out. So as you can see, it has its own space in really improving healthcare. And that's what our initiative is, to provide proper medical second opinion, which is unbiased, and it is not oriented towards just profiting the hospitals and healthcare systems.
That's awesome. So do you mind explaining the journey behind creating Second Medic's platform?
Yes, actually, in 2015, my mother was sick and she was wrongly diagnosed. And it was just within a span of a few months, we realized that the importance of a right and timely diagnosis. We lost her in this battle, but what left with us was that there are so many people who might not have doctor in the family and a proper guidance how to navigate through this whole healthcare ecosystem. And really, when you are stuck with any kind of a healthcare issue, you yourself are not in a good position to really find out what the next steps should be. And that's where we wanted to play a big role in healthcare and be in the part of batting it on the side of the patients and really helping them navigate through and get them the proper diagnosis and treatment. So essentially, our role is to be a partner to the patient, and that's what our objective is. So what we found out from our own experience was that there was a need, and there is the need to really provide timely diagnosis, and that's what we are trying to accomplish.
Sorry for the loss of your mother. And in the creation of Second Medic, how exactly did you go about finding the right people to really create the impact that you want to have?
That's a very important piece, Manan, for any objective or any big goal that you have on hand. The most important piece is to have the right team. And that's what the first step was. Like we had a real good objective on hand, and we are really passionate about it. But your own single passion will never drive it to the destination that you want to be, or you want Second Medic to be a company which cares about people, a company which really thinks on behalf of the patient. That's the kind of company that we wanted to build. But your single passion, or your one person, this thing can never make things happen. And that's why we needed people who have a like-minded approach. It is very easy when you go around, meet people. Over the last few years, that's exactly what we did. We wanted to make sure that we have the right people in place who have the same vision, who also want to give back to the community, and who also have who feel this gap exists. Because as any new startup, and you will hear this, and you will probably hear it in different ways. We all try to solve a good problem. It's never we don't make a lot of errors in really finding the problem. The way we go about solving the problem, and the people who join the journey, and that is what creates the most impact. So that is what we cherry picked some of the best doctors to be part of our team. We also try to bring some of the best IT resources. Some of the I was in innovation, and I was in AI space. I was in blockchain, so I knew what are the other pieces of healthcare I could have brought into this whole objective. So we have definitely been blessed with some of the people who are the best, and they have accomplished a lot in their respective fields. So selection and really having a single mission, and who really feel the gap exists and they want to really win is what really makes a difference.
Yeah, I really agree with what you said. Finding the right team, the right people to kind of like change society for the better. I really like that. So can you explain your business model to us, for example, revenue streams?
Sure, but before I jump right into the revenue stream, it is very important to understand that it is a global company, and the revenue model also changes from the country that respective countries that you're operating in. Like right now, we have just launched in India, where the operating model is slightly different than any other place, like in US and UK or Canada for that matter. So in India per se, the revenue model is based on the verticals that we are in. We are working in 4 different verticals. One is in the corporate partnerships with the insurance and corporates. Then we are in partnership with the hospitals, and then you have the direct to customer vertical. And the most important piece in all these different verticals is that the revenue stream varies. In some case, you provide a service based on fees. Some places we provide based on the plans, and in some places you provide in terms of their different services, the wellness packages, and things like that. So the revenue model is basically, if I can simplify for you, is fees for the service, and also fees varies in terms of the different packages that we offer, because we not only just offer primary and secondary medical consultations, but we also provide whole range of service which provides a one-stop shop in healthcare ecosystem. Because like I said before, the goal was to really make the life of someone who is suffering from a disease and their life easy. To make it, you need to have all these things much more easily available, whether it is diagnostic, whether it is medicine, whether it is finance, whether it is ambulance, whether it is your insurance. So we have tried to partner up with the different companies, and we are providing all these things at one place, and also ensuring that they are getting the best of the doctors and the best of the advice.
And so it seems like you're working with people from a lot of different backgrounds, both their knowledge and skills, and also where they are around the world. So as the leader at the head of this, how do you really work to bring everyone together in the team and make it work for the better?
It's kind of very complicated to look at from outside, but very simple when you get into to executing it, because when it comes to execution, everyone's roles falls in place in terms of what is required. And sometimes when you have a good team, everyone kind of really finds their zone and their strength and their competency, what it really fits. And sometimes some people expand, some people find their niche. And I think so you don't have to ask people to get out of their comfort zone. They will find that what they are best at. That is what independence you want to give as a leader, is that the team assumes the role and what they feel comfortable, where they feel that they can make a difference. And you just want to bring all of those together and ensure that nothing is sitting on your blind spot. So it doesn't work the other way around, is that you want to bring specific pieces together, and that will play out exactly that you have planned. Never in real life, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. You bring in a lot of pieces, some people, some things, and people will fall exactly in the place that you wanted them to be, and some will kind of really find somewhere their own sweet spot, and kind of they start delivering. Until unless that happens, you cannot get the best of those people, because everyone has an intention of giving you their best. But for them to be able to give their best, they should know that how they fit into those specific roles. um, there have been people with various different backgrounds and various different skills, and they joined in our team, and with the passion, that was the most important piece. But they found a very new role, and they contributed and we are finding it every single day. The people are discovering themselves in it, and that's what we give people, the opportunity to discover themselves. And this is interesting, because you guys will go out and you will make your career, and you will find, some people will find, initially, we if I um, rewind myself in my days from the campus, I wanted to get placed. We all were competing for the job and wanted to get placed on the first day with the best company. And that was the pride that we were fighting for. We were not thinking that that is exactly what will give me the best, but that immediate satisfaction was that I should be getting the placement in the first day, and having those cushy jobs. But this is where, when we brought people together, this was again a chance for them to rediscover themselves. They already made certain choices in their careers and all, but we brought them and gave them the the opportunity to do something bigger and better. And I think so that's why I feel that uh, people give their best when given that independence.
Very well said. So do you mind just talking about like the issues Second faced pre-COVID-19?
It's kind of very interesting, because we went into today, when I resigned my previous company, someone said that you just resigned and you probably had the crystal ball that you saw this coming, and you got into this at the right time, and then things kind of fell into place. But that was not the case. It is pre-COVID and post-COVID. Telehealth is still discovering itself. um, it was good to have and need to have, and becoming slowly need to have, this whole telehealth space, as you would have heard people are talking about in so many different ways. Pre-COVID, the pain points were the same to me, and post-COVID it will remain the same. There is a lot of chaos in health space, but we are working at a very elemental level, and that has not changed. It is the problems are becoming, when things don't happen the way they are designed to, that leads to bigger problems. Like for example, right now, no one anticipated that what if there's no vaccine for a specific disease, what will happen, and that's throwing a lot of chaos into this thing. But elemental problem remains the same, that that our people who are not getting proper diagnosis, proper treatment is the same before COVID, and it's the same during COVID. It's probably just got even bigger because the resources have got diverted towards handling COVID, and our role has become even more important because I'll give you an example. A cancer patient was clueless what to do, and he was deferring his treatment, and that is the last thing one should do during a time, even though pandemic kind of has induced so much of fear in people, but you have to take care of their health irrespective. And our role in helping people take care of their health and make the right decisions, we are essentially uh, telehealth is essentially should play a part in decision support for people. Like if someone is reaching out to our company, they are trying to solve a problem and they're looking for external help, and we are there with the expertise, with the panel of people, best brains. They are looking at your problem and they are giving you health solutions, and then you have to move into that. People have during the COVID, they kind of um, they were so worried about just COVID that they did not handle their bigger problems, and they deferred it. And our role was during COVID was to make sure that we help them out. People who reached out to us, our role was even bigger, but it never changed. Our main mission, like I mentioned before, was to really help people make the right decisions, and we continue to do that pre-COVID and during COVID. The one piece which definitely changed is that people have a lot more trust in telehealth. People find this more effective because there are scenarios and situations which force them to use telehealth for the first time. But the benefit is enormous in a sense that the kind of exposure to germs and other things, especially for people who are have um, existing health conditions, is huge, and telehealth plays a big part in really helping them out, and that's why our role has kind of expanded, but it has on the most foundational level. We still are doing the same thing like we were doing before.
And so,
That's
if I'm getting this right, basically the role of Second Medic has grown during the pandemic as more people turn to telehealth.
Absolutely.
And so, how have you had to change any aspects of Second Medic as a result of the pandemic to accommodate more people now needing help, and anything else that COVID-19 may have brought up?
So one, and essentially what you're asking is that what changed because of pandemic, right?
Yep.
So like I was mentioning, it is things have not changed, but the way our effectiveness we had to increase our capacity to serve, and we did a lot of work in terms of managing the resources that we had on hand, and really optimize things in a way that we are more useful for the patients, because the concerns were a little different. And uh, that's the one thing that we always kept in our values, was that we wanted to do anything and everything keeping the interest of the patient in mind. And that is kind of really was the guardrail, and it helped us steer in the right direction. The only objective that we have in hand is to really making sure that what they should be doing during COVID what would be slightly different than what they would have done otherwise. So to answer your question, what has changed during COVID, that the volume has gone up substantially. What has changed during COVID is that we are kind of improvising the way we are helping the patients. What we have done is that we are helping people to understand the role of telehealth as well. So a lot of people have some very basic question, is that how would I see a doctor or the concept of getting treated by a doctor who cannot be with me in person. So that concept itself was alien for a lot of people, and who were never exposed to telehealth, or who did not know about medical second opinion. They did not know that the virtual healthcare exists in the world. So education was another big part of our initial this thing during COVID, was that people who could really avail, or who could optimize their health during this time, was definitely one of the pieces that we did well, or actually we made sure that there should be a lot of focus on really educating people how they can maximize uh, and get help from us and solve their problems. People who were on the fringe in terms of whether to go for telehealth or still wait and get to the doctor who was or the hospital where he was not able to, that is the barrier we kind of crossed in a very convincing way. And this was again the people who did a fantastic job, and they did not try to change things, but they tried the approach of educating people. And when you take that approach, things kind of the more permanent changes happen, and people participate and people believe, and the trust is created in a much better way. So essentially all these things will uh, before COVID, we were building trust and all, but this was a fast forward where we had to accomplish the same thing, and a lot got accomplished within a very short span of time.
And so we have just a few minutes left before we have to wrap up. So do you mind just sharing what are your top 3 tips for young entrepreneurs?
I think I wanted to spend more time on this part, but the few things that I would want anyone who is kind of wanting to set up a business or have a goal or have a business objective in mind, the important piece should be to make sure that the end goal is something which is very very clear in terms of quantitative and qualitative sense. And one should learn that how I can make things more customer centric, and the part which most of the times people miss out is ensuring that what they are developing is solving a problem for the customer, and they are willing to pay a price for that, what really makes it a feasible business model. And healthcare is a little different, but this applies to every single thing, is that people try to develop the model, they try to solve the problem, but does the customer really see the problem in the same lens as you are looking at? If you do that, you will be able to get your business in the right place. And essentially what we do is that I have seen a lot of people go and ask their family, their friends, their dad, their grandmother, that hey, do you think that this is fantastic? Obviously they will encouragingly say that this is fantastic, yes, we really badly need this product in the market. But rather than that, you should try and see what you're building or what you're developing as a product is something which really solves the problem. Don't wait for product perfectness before you bring it to the market, or you bring it to sell. And that is where I feel that a lot of time is wasted. We spend a lot of time in developing the product, but bring it to the market fast enough and test it in real time, in real scenario. And if it is not getting traction, then you should not ignore that. If you ignore it, that oh, my product is still in development stage, and that's why it is not appreciated, or people are not buying, or people are not ready to pay the price. And the other important piece, and this is the one piece, the other most important piece is that you can sell something if you spend a lot of money, and with a lot of marketing things are available in terms of Google ads and Facebook ads, and you can do a lot of stuff and you can sell your products. But for a new entrepreneur and someone who wants to succeed, they have to remember that the cost of customer acquisition is the most important piece. Is that yes, you can acquire a customer, but are you doing it and is it in a profitable way, and it's still you are sustainable. Don't look for funding and try to run the business, and that is the part where you should build some basic fundamentals and see that how feasible it is, and it really makes sense. The third and final piece I would say for anyone is that if they're thinking of doing any specific initiative, try to do a lot more research and kind of believe yourself. And sometimes 9 out of 10 times, if you have a strong belief, don't uh, try to say that, okay, I will do it when I'm ready, or I'll do it when things kind of fall in place. If you really feel strongly about it, just go for it. Our gut feel never fails us, but the only time it fails is when we ignore it. And it's never late or never soon enough to do that. I think so. Those are the three key things. But I think so. I feel that when you get it out in the market, and you're like you guys have done a fantastic job in just convincing me to come here and be part of this interview, that itself shows that how you guys have really created value for others in generating knowledge and helping other people. So fantastic job.
Thank you.
Manan, and
Thank you.
very impressive.
Those are some really great tips that you shared just now. As one final message, if you had to share with us, what lessons have you learned from Second Medic, and how can they be applied to any industry?
I'll go back to that one specific piece that I spoke about, is that I did spend a lot of time refining our platform, refining our product. And when we really landed the platform, there were so many new things that we learned. So trying to perfect the product and kind of waiting for it to be flawless is a time wasted. You should bring it in the most crudest form. And as someone has said, if you are not ashamed of your product when you bring it to the market, then you have not brought it soon enough. And that is the one biggest lesson, is that if you have a product, just go and sell, and then everything else will fall in place. Never wait for it to have a prototype and do all the different diagnostics to run, and I'll have a product developer, and I'll have this, I'll have this test done. Nowadays there's so much, so many words gets thrown in terms of product market fit and all these things. But essentially it all means only one thing, is that you have a product, go and sell, and you will rest everything customer will teach you. And so listen to the customers is the biggest thing. Is that when we got the product in the market and started talking to the people who wanted to use our services, that was the most wisest thing that we could listen to. And that is the time you have to keep your ears wide open. So ever you and Manan want to launch a product, the first thing I would want to do is that never wait for that product to be final and the best. Just bring it in the most crudest form. And like I said, even if you're ashamed of bringing that product to sell, do that, because that patients, or probably customers for that matter, will tell you what they want, and you can then change it on the run.
And so some of the major takeaways, it seems like, are first to identify the problem, identify your specific goal. And once you have the goal and you know how you want to solve it, just run with it. And basically don't wait for your product to be ready. Don't wait for the market to be ready. You have to go out there with it and see really what people think.
Absolutely. And yeah, this you've got it in the most simplest. Life's biggest lessons are very simple. It's not complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And it was great hearing from you and your journey and this whole entrepreneurship.
No, thank you so much, Trisha, and thank you so much, Manan. I wish you guys all the best, and reach out to me anytime, in anything that I can share. And have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Right. You
Thank
too.
you.
All the best to you.
Thank you.